Hi, my name is Peter Hereza Amara Dennis. Welcome to Amazing Science TV. So today we are going to be looking at, we earlier on looked at the physical properties in periodic chemistry. So today we are going to specifically talk about atomic radius as one of the physical properties. Atomic radius, we said, is the distance between two neighboring atoms, between the nucleus of the two neighboring atoms. So we are going to look at the factors that affect atomic radius. There are two factors that affect atomic radius. That is nuclear charge and screening effect. Nuclear charge refers to the attraction of the nucleus for the outermost electrons. That is nuclear charge. Then screening effect refers to the repulsion force of the inner electrons to those in the outer shells, to the electrons in the outer shells. So how does atomic radius affect how does the nuclear charge affect atomic radius? Nuclear charge, we have said, is the attraction of the nucleus for the outermost electrons. So the greater the nuclear charge, the smaller the atom, or the smaller the atomic radius. So we see that the nuclear charge, when the nuclear charge is high or it is greater, the electrons in the outermost shells will be attracted more to the nucleus, and in so doing they reduce the size of the atom, and so the atomic radius also decreases. So also screening effect. Screening effect is the repulsion force, as we earlier on said. It's the repulsion force of the inner electrons to those in the outer shells. So if the screening effect is high, then it implies that the electrons will be repelled more away from the nucleus, and so the size of the atom will increase. And in so doing, the atomic radius also increases. So we are going to also look at the trend, the variation of the atomic radius across the period. For now, we are going to begin with the period, across the period. So how does atomic radius vary from one element to another across the period? So we are going to take an example of two periods, period 2 and period 3. So period 2 we know we have lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, oxygen, and fluorine. Those are the elements in period 2. So as you can look at this, you see we have 0.123 here, we have 0.089, we have 0.082, we have 0.07, we have 0.066, 0.064. So that is the variation of atomic radius across this period. So also taking in period 3, we see the same trend. We have sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. So we see the same trend. We have 0.156, we have 0.36, we have 0.125. So with checking the two periods, we see that atomic radius will go on decreasing across the period. So generally, the conclusion here, on variation of atomic radius across the period, we say that generally the atomic radius decreases from one element to another as we move from left, this is the left, as we move from left to right, the atomic radius goes on decreasing across the period. So what could be the reason? The reason why the atomic radius decreases, it has this trend. So the reason is one. As we move from one element to another, from left to right, we see that an electron is added. An electron is added to the same shell. To the same shell of an atom an electron is added to the same shell of an atom. So taking an example of sodium. Sodium has 11 electrons. And so if we have this as our sodium, this is our nucleus, so we have one electron there, we have another one here. And then, because this is 2 to 8 to 1. Or we can write it as 1s squared, 2s squared. Then we have 2p, 6, that is 10. Then we have 3s, 1. Isn't it? So we have, in the outermost shell, we have these are 2 electrons. We have other 2, other 8. So we have here 2 electrons, 2 electrons there, 2 electrons here, 2 electrons there. Then in the outermost shell, we have there 1 electron. So when you are going to magnesium, which is here, magnesium, it has 12 electrons in its outermost shell. So we have also 1 electron there, 1 electron here. This is the nucleus. We have another electron here, 2 electrons there, 2 electrons there, 2 electrons there, 2 electrons there. Then we have another electron, which is, we have 2 electrons there. 1 here and 1 here. So you see that as we have moved from one element, sodium, to magnesium, we have an electron that has been added. But they are being added, the electrons are being added to the same shell. So we have that an electron is added to the same shell as we move from one element to another across the period, left to right. And that has an effect on the screening effect, which is the addition of electrons. The screening effect almost remains constant since the electrons are being added to the same shells. And then as we move from left to right, from one element to another, we see that a proton is being added to the nucleus, and so nuclear charge goes on increasing. So nuclear charge, as we move from left to right across the period, nuclear charge increases. And as the nuclear charge increases, the screening effect almost remains constant. And in so doing, the effective nuclear charge will also increase. And so the electrons will be pulled more or closer to the nucleus. And in so doing, we shall see that the size of the atom goes on decreasing and the atomic radius decreases. So that is the simple effect of the two factors here that we talked about, nuclear charge and screening effect. That's their effect across the period. We see that effective nuclear charge goes on increasing, or the nuclear charge increases as the screening effect remains almost constant across the period. And in so doing, the effective nuclear charge also increases, and the electrons are pulled more to the nucleus, and the size of the atom goes on decreasing. That's why we have seen the trend of atomic radius generally decreasing, as you can see, generally decreasing from one element to another across a period, moving from left to right. Thank you for your audience. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel Amazing Science TV for more uploads of the same content in chemistry. And do not forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be getting the notifications of the uploads that I will be, or uploads of the content. Then also, do not forget to share the content with your friends, and we become amazing. Thank you so much.